everybody. It's nice to see everyone after last night. People got down. That was fun. I know everyone had a good time last night, so again, fun seeing everyone in person. I will reiterate what I said yesterday, which was it's different when you're in person. The interactions you have with people, the conversations you have with people, it comes alive when you're having them in person. Like last night was a perfect example where people came out, everyone had fun. Some folks went to karaoke, other folks hit up another bar. But I think what I found through those opportunities was these stories that start to bubble up. Stories about your own journeys, stories about your destinations, how you're actually pulling it all together. And sometimes it's hard when you're sitting in a room like this to get those stories out. But when you're in a more casual setting, it comes out. So I think for me, it was like a really nice opportunity to see everyone kind of enjoy themselves, besides just sitting and listening to us talk. Today, we'll talk about a couple of different things. The big focus will be a little bit on Localhood. So we'll have a couple of stories about Localhood creators. I'll share a couple of stories about my own focus on community and local, since that's been like the theme for the last 2 days. But before we kick it off, I did want to very quickly, if this is working. Nope. That's a beautiful rock. That is not what's supposed to be up there. Let's try it again. All right. So yesterday I mentioned that Dan had a little baby. We thought we would share some pictures of his son and his wife. They're really enjoying their son, and I think it's unfortunate that he's not here. Dan and I have been talking the last couple of days. Yesterday we did a recap. This morning he was on the phone, and I think you can feel his passion and a little bit of sadness that he's not here to be with you all. But I did say that we would actually make Dan work hard. And so with that, Dan put together a video for us and has a couple of really cool stories. Come on, video. There you go.
Hello there. I'm excited to have you with me for another walk today. At CrowdRiff, we are fortunate to be surrounded by a team that's dedicated to innovation and a community of customers that's committed to delivering positive impacts for their local communities. And a founding principle of CrowdRiff is that people prefer to make decisions visually, and that authentic and compelling content and stories have the power to influence not just traveler decisions, but also traveler behavior. UGC is at the core of what we do. It's entirely unscripted, authentic content that engages and inspires travelers like nothing else can. And today, in addition to UGC, we are introducing CrowdRiff's original content solution, powered by our Localhood creators. As you're all aware, consumer expectations continue to evolve, from photos to videos to vertical content. Our Localhood creators are delivering an ever-growing library of compelling vertical video, photos, and stories that are aligned with your campaigns and your content themes, and they come fully licensed for your daily use. We've made it fast and easy for you to work with creators at scale. And original content from Localhood creators is already fueling the content plan for many destinations. One of the best things about my role is that I get to step into the shoes of our customers, and I get to use the latest technology before it's released. And this year, it also meant that I got to spend time with our Localhood creators to understand what role Localhood and our DMO partners was playing in their lives. And because this is powered by real local creators in your destination, I wanted to take a moment to share 3 of their stories with you today. First, meet Yuritsa. Yuritsa is a Puerto Rican-born Latina and self-care advocate, lifestyle blogger living in LA. Alongside Yuritsa's stories of personal strength and self-care, she was already sharing great things to see and do all around the LA area. She's produced original food content that includes things like coffee, to pizza, to her favorite taco places. And outdoor content like this secret swing atop of a hike that has these amazing epic views. And attractions from Orange Street Alley to this ostrich farm called Ostrich Land. And the newest hotel in Calabasas. Check out that sunny patio. Yuritsa and I sat down for a burger in West Hollywood, and she shared what it was like being born in Puerto Rico, growing up in Boston, and then moving to LA. And as a creator with multiple sources of income, from her blog to her YouTube channel to the occasional brand collab, together with the income from Localhood, she can continue doing what she loves and going on great new adventures as well. My next conversation was over a coffee with Derek. Derek is a full-time software developer in Orange County, but he spends his evenings and weekends focused on his other passion, which is photography, and he's pretty good at it too. Derek has produced original content about everything from beaches to local hikes to state and national parks to farmers markets and breweries. He told me that each Friday he checks the Localhood app for the latest content challenges, and that's how he plans his weekends. He also said he's enjoyed living what he called the Localhood life, which Derek described as following the Localhood challenges that encourage him to try out new experiences while making content along the way and getting paid on his Localhood card, and then using the money on his card to help pay for his next adventure. That's living the Localhood life, and I love it. The third creator I met with was Jamie. Jamie is a professional dancer whose career's taken her all over the world before settling in LA. Since Jamie's new to town, she's doing what any of us would do when you're exploring a new city or moving into a new city. You go exploring. Jamie has created vertical videos about everything from 5-star hotels with rooftop pools to beautiful art museums, from fancy sushi and cocktail restaurants with a great view to food trucks with great flavor, and from cute coffee shops to her favorite brunch spot in Studio City. Oh, and can't forget her content about the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Jamie loves how Localhood encourages her to get out and explore more. And she's also found a clever way to weave Localhood into her life. As a newcomer to LA, she's creating content while meeting new people, and found that going on dates is a great occasion to create content. When her dates ask what she's up to, she tells them she's a Localhood creator, sharing her favorite places with future travelers. And in some cases, in addition to getting paid on Jamie's Localhood card, the date itself is also covered by her companion. Very smart. When the bill arrived at the end of our brunch, I placed down my Localhood card on the table, and then something happened that surprised me. The server picked up the card and with the biggest smile on their face said, "Wow, I love this. Support local," pointing at the corner of the card and the smiley face. He said, "What is Localhood?" And Jamie went on to describe what Localhood means to her. And seeing that server's excitement made us instantly feel that connection between the content we're creating and the real people that we're supporting. Those are the moments that make our creators feel most proud and remind them that they're a part of something bigger. You see, joining Localhood is about more than being a great content creator. You're joining a community of people who believe in helping travelers discover new local businesses, new experiences, and exploring destinations in a more respectful and sustainable way. As I drove away, I found myself reflecting on how different these three creators were. An entrepreneur, a software engineer, and a dancer. These aren't influencers with millions of followers. They're people that you and I can relate to. They're people that reflect the kinds of travelers you might find in your destination. And that's what makes the content all the more authentic. The more diverse your creators, the more diverse an audience they will resonate with. I was feeling so inspired that when meeting up with a local friend of mine the next day who suggested that we visit Mount Diablo, I decided to make my own Localhood story about it. I followed the best practices of the creators. I included details about the location and local tips, like it's important to arrive at least 2 hours before sunset or you can't get into the park, and there's a $10 entrance fee. It was the perfect evening with rare views that extended all the way to the Golden Gate Bridge. I asked my team to include my story along with the others for Visit California just to see how well I did. And a few days later, I got a notification that Visit California had in fact used my vertical video in their TikTok channel. So, felt pretty good. And sure enough, if you search for Mount Diablo, California on Google, the story I created now appears on the first page of search results for other travelers to discover. And this is just the beginning. We've also flown our creators across the country. We've sent them on multi-day road trips, all to deliver the unique content that our destinations are seeking. We have reimagined how destinations work with content creators in a way only CrowdRiff can do. From how we discover and onboard new creators, to how we translate brand needs into exciting content challenges, to the production of the vertical content within our proprietary mobile app, even to the micropayments and incentives that are delivered instantly to the creator's Localhood credit card. And both our UGC and creator content platforms are designed to work seamlessly together. On their own, each are industry leading, but together, they solve the content needs for modern destinations. I'm very proud of our team and grateful to the early creators, as well as our customers who provided us valuable feedback along the way. And I could not be more excited to see how each of you will tap into the power of our Localhood creators to tell the stories of your destination in even more authentic and compelling ways. I'll see you all again soon, and back over to you, Kash.
Dan's watching, so he can hear all of it. So we'll have a conversation about that later. So a couple of things that I took away from this conversation with Dan that is really important to highlight. So one thing that he focused on were the creators themselves. So it wasn't trying to focus on specific destinations. The reason why we chose creators for this discussion is to highlight the diverse content that can come out of that. So it's not just telling a DMO, like, go out there and create content with our Localhood platform, but see what's possible. And I think it's important to show the stories of individual creators because they're the ones that live that Localhood life every day, and they're the ones that can bring whatever campaign you have in mind to life in a unique, authentic way. And so what Dan was going through, these ideas of like community and locals, it's been the theme for the last couple of days, and I think it's really important that we continue to highlight what that means for DMOs. And while it's been a focus for us as a topic, I started to think about my own experiences as a marketer who's joined CrowdRiff very recently. It's only been 3 months for me. Can you tell? No? And so I wanted to share a couple of stories that are personal to me, and I think what it highlights is there's opportunity for DMOs to spend more time in your communities, understand like where those like nuggets live and how do you bring them to life. And sometimes you don't have to do it yourself. The idea isn't that a DMO has to go to these local communities yourself, because it's hard. So many channels you have to manage, things that you have to do, small teams. Everyone, yesterday, Ashley was talking about a 3-person team that's managing Butte County. Like, that's hard work. And so I think what Localhood does for you is kind of like puts you in the creator's shoes, and it gives you an opportunity to create amazing content. So the story I want to first start with is around community. So as everyone in the room can see it, and on the virtual screens, I'm wearing a pair of sneakers. These are Air Max 90s, first time I'm wearing them. I actually had the marketing team select 2 sneakers that I wanted to wear yesterday and today out of 10 pairs that I haven't worn yet. And I'll tell you the backstory on that. But the reason why it was important for me to talk a little bit about community is because I grew up in this community here. It's in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, before e-commerce. If you wanted to buy rare sneakers, if you really wanted to spend time in that community, this was the community you had to be a part of. And what was exciting about that community was you can spend hours looking up how to clean sneakers, how to trade them, how to break them down. Like, there was a guy who actually cut sneakers and just to show you what the technology was inside. And he had a really popular blog, and then Nike hired him to do all their product testing. And so the community itself became this living, breathing thing. And we start to answer questions like, can a shoe have a sole? Which is kind of crazy, but if you're in that community, you do start asking questions like that. So I spent hours and hours really embedded in this community. I met a lot of people, and for me, it was the first time I spent time in that community. And I slowly started to realize the community wasn't just online conversations, it wasn't just forum posts. They started to go offline. Before what you consider SneakerCon and all these conferences, every city had local meetups. So you went there, you went to a coffee shop, you went to a bar, you talked about your sneakers. What do you have? What's the rare one? Mind you, this is before e-commerce. There was no Nike.com, there was no website to go to. You literally had to go in person, talk to someone about how to clean your sneakers, how to store them. And what I loved about that community was for the first time, I felt like I was part of something bigger. And I met really, really interesting people. And one of those people happened to be this guy. So Josh, he's the co-founder and CEO of StockX. But while we were in the forum, we're just 2 people who were really passionate about sneakers. What he did was really interesting. He took all of the insights that were in the forum where people were selling shoes, looked at the prices for all of them, compared them to eBay, started StockX. StockX is a stock market for goods like sneakers, jackets, things that people want that are collectibles. And it was the community that actually gave Josh the idea to actually do something like this and take it to another level. I didn't get to do that, but I got a chance to spend time with you all here at Sea. Josh will be a billionaire. His company's going public in a year or so. He'll be just fine. But I use this example because the communities that you actually spend time in and dedicate resources to, those are the stories that come out of it. He's one example. It's a tech guy who's going to eventually make money. But I think as a DMO, understand what's happening in your local environment. Where are these local meetups happening? How do you actually highlight that to other people who may want to visit and experience something that they haven't? So for me at that time, late 90s, early 2000s, those meetups were crucial. And it sort of led to this. I started to amass massive amounts of sneakers. This is a picture of me in 2006, 2005 maybe. I had 225 pairs. I took a job after school at a sneaker store so I could buy more. And this collection was a reflection of my passions, but it was also a reflection of the community. And what I learned from that community once I started to amass this collection was, how do I actually value these things? What does it mean when I go to meet up with someone and someone prices that pair of sneakers? Can I actually make money off of it? So I've learned all these other things that actually help shape how I perceive communities to be. And so in 2005, when I was starting my third semester of college, I needed money to pay for school. So I sold my sneaker collection and made $30,000 to pay off 2 semesters of school. And I think the reason why I highlight this is communities can be very powerful to the individual people inside, but it can also be very powerful for those who come in and for a brief moment get to see that passion, get to kind of experience what's happening on a local level. And I'm going to keep saying this, but as a DMO, it's really important to find these nuggets. These stories, back then, could have been anywhere. If the internet existed, these local sneakers meetups would have been everywhere. People come out from other countries to be a part of SneakerCon, which is a conference just for sneakers. So you can sort of see like what the opportunities are if you're willing to spend some time in your communities. My second story is slightly different, and it's about destinations, locals, and making a home. Oh, this is so stuck again. OK. Most of you may not recognize this location. So in 1990, my dad hit the ultimate lotto. He had a chance to come to the United States. When I say lotto, literally it was a lotto. You applied, there's a chance that you might win, and he did it. He was the only person in his entire village to win the lotto. And my dad was a farmer. This is an actual picture of one of the villages. I went back in middle school and took this picture. But what was amazing about his entire experience is that for the first time, he was a little lost. Where do I go to call home? What destination do I pick to actually take my family and be there? And he eventually settled on Lower East Side in New York. And the reason why he picked it is a strange and funny story. There was a villager who had a crank radio. I've actually never seen one. I've only heard of them. So I don't even know how to work it. But he started a crank radio, and on the radio, there was a story about a place called New York. And the way the story was described, you can go to New York and just make money off of things you find on the floor. Coins, dollars, it's everywhere. That's what everyone said. Go to New York, and you'll be just fine because there's money floating around everywhere. In reality, there is money on the floor, but it's pennies, not going to get you far. But I think for him, it was an opportunity to, when you put it in context, it was an opportunity bigger than he could have imagined. And so we moved into this building in Lower East Side. It still looks like this, hasn't changed. But he really invested in time into getting to know the neighborhood, getting to know the people. And the best part was that there were other folks just like him who also made this journey to the Lower East Side. And it became this own little community where you were helping each other out. You were helping each other find jobs. You were helping each other figure out how to send your kids to school. You were really trying to create a neighborhood that could rely on each other. And the best part about all this was most of these neighborhoods, and so here are a couple of stores shops you might recognize. So this is Katz. It was 2 blocks away from my school. This is a matzo factory that no longer exists, but that was across the street from our apartment. And this is Economy Candy. It's a globally recognized candy store. It hasn't changed. It looks just like this today. But at the time when my dad arrived, it was these types of businesses that actually made the neighborhood what it is. It's a very immigrant neighborhood. They all relied on each other. You provided jobs for each other. And today, creators go to these places, and they want to live that lifestyle. I'm going to Katz's to have a sandwich. You take a picture. But what we kind of forget is that if the city of New York or the state of New York decided, I'm going to highlight this neighborhood and just promote the crap out of it because there are amazing stories happening every single day, from the jobs that are provided to people who actually go to Economy Candy every single day, there's a story there. But the city never actually spent time to do that. It's only creators that are doing that now, and over the last 10 years, these businesses, with the exception of the matzo factory, which is now a movie theater, the other 2 businesses are thriving. And they're thriving because finally creators have decided, I want to go check that neighborhood out. It's a neighborhood that has propelled through all these different years, and it's still there. But imagine what the DMO could have done. What could you have done if you can highlight all these stories? And so I mention all of this because Localhood is sort of that solution. And I'm not here to sell you a product. I'm not trying to tell you all the amazing features about it. I think what's beautiful about Localhood is that if you're a DMO and you don't have the resources, but you want to create an amazing campaign, you want to bring something to life in your neighborhood, this is the best way to do that. Because you're going to find creators in your destination who truly understand those little nuggets, those diamonds in the rough that you're looking for, but they live it every single day. So it's not just a place where you're sending a brief and getting creative assets back. That's not what Localhood is all about. It's a platform, so you're getting end-to-end solution. There's an app where creators are going in and finding the next challenges. It's a place where you get, as a DMO, get a chance to put some thought and edit the content that comes back. So I think it's really important that we hone in on want local content, want to bring creators to the fold. This is a great way to do that. And so I'm talking a lot about Localhood, and here are a couple of examples of some of the work that we've done that's been distributed to other channels. It's also important to talk about what that content can do. So the last couple of days, we've been talking about distributing content, social, TikTok, all these channels that every marketer wants to be on. But sometimes we need content for campaigns. Sometimes it's how do I blow out a seasonal campaign that I truly want our customers, our travelers to get across. So here's an example where local content is used on a campaign landing page. You can see sort of the richness, the gallery. It's a different level of quality. It's unique, and it's authentic content that is validated by the DMO. You are the one that's sharing all of this. And so when the traveler comes across this content, not only are they getting the local point of view, but they're getting this stamp of validation from you. I think that's also important when we talk about the content that's going out. So when we, again, another example of some Localhood content that we've sourced the last couple of days. But what I want everyone to sort of walk away, it's we're not just trying to get you to use Localhood to create content. We're trying to get you to create content that is unique to your destination and what you can do. So spend time with us. Learn a little bit about Localhood. We'll connect you with some creators. We'll make sure that you get a chance to understand what's possible. And that way you can experience some of this stuff for yourself. Because when you spend time with creators, when you spend time in your communities, in this local environment, all things that we've been talking about the last couple of days, and every time those topics come up, everyone shakes their head. We need to do more of that. Let's figure out what that looks like for you. And then the best part about it is, and if Farah was up here talking about Google, that content can also live on Google. And Dan had a pretty good example of that too. So you create all this amazing content, you want to distribute it, you have your social channels, but you can also share it through Google. So it's searchable, you can find it, you're engaging with it. And for the traveler, you're hitting them at different points. It's not at the top of the funnel, it's not just in the middle of the funnel, it's not at the bottom of the funnel. It's wherever you think is relevant. And sometimes the content you actually want to share may not be something that is conversion driven. The focus is education. You want to focus on sustainability. You want to focus on accessibility. You're not always going to create an ad for that. But you can build amazing content and distribute it to places like Google, where that content's going to be captured. And when travelers are searching for that content, they find it at that opportune moment. And so as I wrap up all of this, we actually have an awesome case study of Visit California, who've kind of been through this journey with us since 2019. They're one of the first customers who used Localhood, but it wasn't just creating the content. They've evolved their entire marketing strategy, leveraging Localhood, leveraging our creators, and have done an amazing job. And they even have some stats to back that up. So I'm gonna hand it over to Lynn, who couldn't be here, but she was grateful. She was helpful enough to put a video together for us. So I'll let Lynn sort of take over, and then afterward, we'll wrap it up.
Hello from Sacramento. My name is Lynn Carpenter. I'm Vice President of Marketing for Visit California. I am so pleased to be with you here today. Well, actually, I'm not with you, but I'm thinking of you, and I wish I was with you. I'm here in sunny Sacramento. I'm here to actually talk to you about CrowdRiff's travel stories and some of the work that we've done with the Creator Studio here in California. I think it's an incredibly important topic for all of us in marketing, and particularly in destination marketing, to think about ways that we can do authentic content at scale. And this is something for us that we came upon during the pandemic. I think it was always part of our program, but it definitely elevated the importance of this during the pandemic because we were looking at ways with lower budgets and an increased need for collaboration and increased thirst for content on how to travel from consumers who are concerned about safety and other factors.